Welcome to Healthy and Wealthy Conversations, where we discuss everything that leads to health and wellness for your whole spirit, soul, mind, and body. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Healthy and Wealthy Conversations. Today's conversation is with David Essel. Let's get the show started. So you are, I guess you can say, on a campaign called Help Americans Heal, and you have a book and you talk about so many things as far as healing from love challenges, financial problems, ADD, ADHD, addictions, attitude. Before we get into everything you do, how did you get to the point in your life that you decided how did you gain the knowledge of health and healing, and how did you get here that you decided you wanted to help heal America?
Well, let me answer the second part of it first, Casey. We decided to do the book and the program and everything because for the last couple of years, we've seen our country just an absolute mess, just like the rest of the world with the pandemic, job losses, addiction increasing, relationships falling apart, people struggling with anxiety, depression, insomnia. And there are people, Casey, calling us all the time wanting help, but they couldn't afford it. Some of them are out of work. Some of them had their hours cut. So we said, you know what? We've been doing this for 42 years. Our whole purpose for 42 years has been helping people to heal. So let's blow it out. Let's create a program that's incredibly inexpensive for people to join. We do have a program, an online program on our website, Helping Americans Heal, of course, that's $9.98 a month. And then, Casey, we decided for people that maybe couldn't even afford $9 a month or $9 a week, $10 a week, that we put a book together. And just what you mentioned, we have answers to almost every situation that's going on right now. The only thing we don't talk about in the book, which is kind of funny, we don't tell people if vaccines are good or bad. We don't tell people that the pandemic was a conspiracy theory against us. We don't tell people about politics. So we leave all that out. But what we do is this. We say we have solutions in this book to help you move through the anxiety, through the depression, the addictions, the relationship challenges. So how we came up with the book, Casey, and the program was after doing this work for so long and seeing so many people in need, and a lot of them couldn't afford it. We said we have to change. And one of the things that we know is crucial during the time of the pandemic is that we all need to change. We need to adapt to the environment that we're in, not complain or bitch about it, but adapt to it. So we've done that. Now, the first part of the question that you asked, how did I get here? 42 years ago, when I started this work, I only knew one thing, Casey, and that is I'm here to lead. That's all I know. I didn't know how I was going to lead. I was an athlete in college. And so it was natural for the first 10 years of my career to come out leading as a sports psychology, helping athletes better themselves in every area of life. And then in 1990, I got this great opportunity to help a woman who was struggling after a divorce. And it was the first client in 1990 that I had that had nothing to do really with athletics. She was just really struggling. And then that led me into helping couples and then help me, addiction recovery. And the other thing I will tell you this, flat out honest, most of my experience in life has come from my own failures. Yeah. I have failed a lot, Casey. And if you want to look at your failures as teaching tools, which I've happened to, I've taught myself a lot. I had a 30-year addiction. I've gone through divorce. I've gone through bankruptcy. I know what it feels like to be on your back with no money in your pocket and to fight back from that. I know what it's like to be on your back with addictions and fight back. I know what it's like to try to recover after terrible relationships. So I know this is a long-winded answer to your questions there, Casey, but that's how I've got here today. And I wouldn't do anything else with my time. I love this work so much.
Thank you for that. I will say that as humans, especially as Americans, we do pride ourselves in titles and degrees. And I will say the best teacher is those who have experienced it. And so I'm glad you're saying that, because so many people, when they are, whether it's physical sickness, financial sickness, or whatever, and someone wants to help them, they may feel offended and might say, you don't know what I'm going through. And so it's best to have someone. Yes, I do, because I've been there. I've been
Yeah.
broke and I've been homeless or I've been, addicted to something. And I think we need to spend more time helping people in what we've experienced, not what we've studied, so to speak, because
That you,
I mean, I'm saying that because I'm happy you said that, because sometimes people open up better when they know you're not going to judge them because you've already been where they're at.
yeah. Casey, what you say is I agree 1,000%. It's funny. After I got my master's degree in sports psychology, people were telling me to go on for my PhD. And I said, for what reason? And they said, well, you'll learn more, but really so you can call yourself Dr. David Essel. And I looked at Casey, I shook my head, right? I looked at that and said, I'm sure, I mean, some people love that, to be called doctor. I could care less. I really could. The only thing I want to do is help people. And our program has been very effective in doing that. You mentioned something about experience. And in our book, Helping Americans Heal, we have several articles or writings in there about grief. And one of them is entitled The World is Grieving. And when you talk about personal experience, I have taught a grieving program for 30 years. I had no idea, honestly, Casey, what it was like to grieve until exactly 1 year ago, my mother passed away. My mother was my greatest cheerleader. She was my biggest fan. I was not an easy child. As a matter of fact, I was a hellacious child. And I started with my addiction at the age of 12. My mom never gave up on me, Casey. And, there's a lot of moms and dads that give up on their children when they're a real pain. And my mom never did. And it was right after my 20s that I realized how much I loved her, how incredible she was to put up with me. And after that period of time, Casey, we created the most incredible bond. But I tell you that for this reason. I thought I knew what grieving was. I had no idea, Casey. We have created a brand new program on grieving after my mom's passing that is so powerful. And there's a new book coming out, and it's called this, The Grief Secret: How to Go from Loss and Sadness to Gratitude and Unconditional Love. And I believe in our country and in this world, we have a total misconception about grieving. A lot of clients that I've worked with who've lost a loved one, a partner, a sibling, a mother or father, 20 years later, they come into the office and, they've been addicted, or they're very overweight, or they've put down their feelings. They have not experienced true grief, because I know that I'll be sad that I've missed my mom for the rest of my life. But I also know this, Casey. The first 6 to 8 months, my tears were nonstop. As a matter of fact, here's something interesting. You are the first person I've talked to about my mom that I haven't cried during an interview. Now, I have not set a goal for myself that says at 12 months, I'm going to stop crying, right? Like I have, but in the new program we created, we allow people to emote and to cry as long as they need to. We teach people how to write about their anger at God, or anger at themselves, or anger at their partner or the loved one who left, because you cannot grieve if you have resentments or anger. So we take people through this. And here's the most beautiful thing. I'm at that stage right now where 20% of my tears are sadness and 80% of my tears are absolute love for my mother. I realized something really important during this time, and that is not everyone has a mother like I had. So for everyone with us right now, that you're listening to, well, I would never do that because I didn't like my mother. My mother left me. She abandoned me. She was an addict, or whatever reasons we have. And I would never push someone, Casey, into a grieving program when they didn't want to do it. But for anyone else that is saddened that years have gone by and you still haven't reached that breakthrough, that's what this program is about. So I only share that with you for this reason, is that you had mentioned what I had said. My best programs are the ones that I have struggled through. And, I'm leaving today. My dad is dying now. And,
I'm so sorry.
Very hard,
hear
Casey.
that. Yes, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, speaking, two things, actually. The first thing, when you were saying you would never force anyone into a grieving program who didn't like their parents, and I would definitely say it is still grieving, because you're grieving the fact that they weren't a parent to you. And so in a sense,
Right on.
they would take the grieving. It would just be a different kind of grieving as far as
Casey,
the healing process.
right on. And this is so important what you just said. There is not a grieving program that can work for everyone. You've got to find someone that understands how to adjust grieving for what your experience was. I'm so glad you said that, because we don't want people to be looking at me going, oh, geez, I should be like David. I should be crying when I hated my father. No, I don't. All I want you to do is to reach out to a professional and go through the process. You know, you can forgive people who have passed. And really what we believe is we need to forgive people if we're angry at them, if when they passed on, simply for our own well-being, mental, physical, spiritual well-being, you know. So I find it fascinating we're having this conversation today. I'm a little bit more prepared for my father, of course, because of what going through with my mother. But I do also know this, and if you're in the same situation as I am, there's a lot of us that have lost our parents during the pandemic. Reach out. Please reach out. You're not alone. You will never be alone. But do not feel embarrassed or ashamed that you need help during this time. I can tell you, I'm surrounded by help. Okay. I am a counselor. I'm a professional in this a long time. I can't do this alone, Casey. I have to have people that I can reach out to.
Well, thank you for that. And again, well, we'll just say, because I don't want to say anything to upset you, I do know that sometimes, you know, grieving hurts us only because we're going to miss the person, obviously. The question is, like, for instance, in March, was it March, I think? Yes, March, one of my aunts passed away from COVID. And the last time I saw her, I'll just say she didn't look all that good.
Yeah.
So for me, even though I was upset that she didn't, you know, she passed away, I knew she was at peace, if that makes sense. And so
Sure.
sometimes for us, we hurt because we're expecting him to die at a later age. So if he's ready, he'll leave. If not, he'll stay, you know. And
It's so true, Casey. You know, and one of the things that before my mom passed, my mom had dementia and it was horrendous. You know, she would be lucid a few minutes a day, and for a couple years it was really hard. But you know, I was able to FaceTime with her when she was in one of these very difficult places, and I was able to say to her everything in the world I ever wanted to say. And one of the things I said to her is, Mom, if you're ready to go, it's okay. We'll take care of Dad. We have Dad wrapped up in our arms. It's okay if you go. And Casey, when I see my dad Saturday night, I'm praying that he hangs in there for us to get there. I will be saying the same thing to him. I'll be telling him how much he's loved and, you know, what an amazing father he was. And I'll also say to him, if you'd like to go and be with Mom, you can. You know, it's okay. We are fine here. We're going to do great, Dad. You know, and now I will say, Casey, you know, one of the things why I feel so comfortable saying that is because I've been in this business for so long. I'm not expecting many of our people that are with us to be able to say that to your loved one. It's okay to go. But I know as a therapist, it's crucial that we do that if we feel that that's our calling. Now, I won't expect my brother or sister to do that. They may or may not, I don't know. But I feel very ready to say that to my dad. He is suffering at the greatest level possible. And so I want him to know if he's ready, Mom's ready. Now, the good news is he said in his induced state, sometimes he's not speaking very clearly, but the one thing he has said to my brother and sister, now they're in upstate New York and I'm in Florida and we're going up there ASAP, but he has said to both my brother and sister that he speaks to my mom every day. And that brings me great comfort. I believe in that. And my mom has visited me, as a matter of fact, twice. And after she passed, and we have had conversations. Now, a lot of people will look at that and say, David Essel is insane and he's lost it. But here's a fascinating story. Last Wednesday, my sister was sitting with my dad, and we have a hospital bed at home, and he's in hospice at home. And we feel very grateful for that. And she said, Dad, do you know that Mom has been visiting David regularly? And my father said, yes, I do. And my sister was surprised. And she said, Dad, how do you know? And he goes, well, Mom was here today. And she told me that she was on David's fence as a hawk. watching over him. So my sister leaves my dad and texts me and says, Dad said something really strange today. Well, Casey, here's the fact. A hawk was on my fence that morning. No one knows that but my fiance and myself. But my father knew it in upstate New York. So when people question these things, you know, I understand questioning. I would never push anyone to believe this stuff. But when my father can correlate what happened in Florida and he's in Syracuse, there's something going on here. That is going to make this transition a little easier, knowing that he will be with my mom. So, you know, in the world of grieving, we look at any angle and it is yin yang. You know, it's incredible sadness and incredible joy. It's this dance back and forth. And if we know how to do it right, do the dance, it can be less suffering. Now, that doesn't mean we won't suffer. And it doesn't mean, Casey, 15 years from now, I won't look at my mom's picture one day and go, oh my God, and start crying hysterically. But I do know there's a different way to do it that I never knew before. And again, once again, you know, going back to helping Americans heal, I mean, we want to help all Americans, regardless of what they're going through. We work with veterans with PTSD, but here's something interesting. In the book, I talk about a civilian with PTSD. And so a lot of people don't even know that the everyday person can get PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, people don't know that. They go, oh, that's just for military or veterans. Heck no. Through the pandemic. Now, I'll give you an example. She lost 2 dogs in the pandemic. They both died. She lost her husband. She lost her home, and she lost her job, for God's sake. You know, like, and she lost her husband via divorce, but she was in full-blown PTSD. And so when you're in that state, I mean, people are numb. They have no idea what direction to move in. You know, so we really do care about every person. And what the book does also is it dispels the myths around depression, anxiety, insomnia, PTSD. And we even talk about suicidal ideation. And, you know, to bring it a little closer to home, in 1990, I attempted my own suicide and I failed. So when we work with suicide families of people who have lost a loved one to suicide, you know, I understand their pain. And when we work with people that have failed at suicide and they're embarrassed and they come in, we know that situation, you know. So I don't know. I've had friends of mine say, I think you purposely do all this stuff just so you can help people after you fail or after you struggle. It might be true, Casey. I don't know.
Well, going back to what you said about your father, I will say not everyone, many people, mostly from my church and my family members, appeared to me in a dream before I found out they passed away and after. So
Okay.
I know that because and I think just recently I finally got it, because I would have it so many times. I don't know if it was self-denial or if it was just ignorance. It would happen. I'm like, oh, this happened to me. Why didn't I realize that's what that was? So definitely my aunt, she appeared to me before and after. So it was kind of like I knew when I heard she was in the hospital, I guess you could say I knew she was going, because I had that experience already that they appeared to me in my dream before and after. So
Yeah.
it is definitely something that happens. So you like I said, the emails you sent me, I didn't read everything off. You deal with so many different issues. So sometimes I would say, and I'm sure you've experienced this with clients, they may come in with like 15 problems. And when they start talking, you realize they really don't have 15 problems. They have like one problem, and the other 14 are kind of like attached, so to speak.
Right.
So
Sure.
how do you get someone, or how does someone identify that main problem that's causing all the other problems?
What an amazing question. And I'll tell you why it's amazing, Casey. In 1996, we created a goal setting program. It's the only one we use. We've used it from then till now. And it's called the one thing theory. And the definition of it is this: at any given time in life, there's only one goal to go after. It's the one you've denied, delayed, and procrastinated the most. It's the one that's been with you, that's hurting you the most. It's the one you'd rather not touch, rather not look at, rather not talk about. That is the only goal to go after. When you go after that one that you've denied, delayed, procrastinated, that you don't want to mess around with, the rest of your life automatically improves as well. So what you're saying, Casey, is dead on. Now, before that, we used to teach the quadrant theory of goal setting, which is picking 4 areas of your life and doing a little bit every week for that. Then we went to the pie chart theory, which is 6 areas of life, and you do a little bit with all 6 areas. And then in 1996, we said, wait a minute, this is crazy. People are jumbling around and they're trying to lose weight and quit smoking and save their relationship and make more money. It's crazy. But this is what we found. If they go after that one, maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's an addiction, maybe it's a lack of forgiveness at a former partner, which is eating you up inside. Maybe it's financial decisions that you've made that are terrible. Maybe it's your anxiety or depression or sleep issues. But we do know this, that one area, if you devote time and energy and effort to go after it and don't try to do multiple things at the same time, will open up a massive avenue for success. Now, we've seen it all the time. And Casey, people will come in and they'll say, I want to do these 5 things, right? But all we have to do is ask them a couple questions like I just did here. Which of those 5 have you procrastinated the most? Which of those 5 would you rather not touch? Which of those 5 would be hardest to overcome? Which of those? And then we'll get it down to 1, Casey. And then we go after that 1, and then we watch life change.
That's amazing. When I asked you that, I didn't actually realize you already had a program set for that.
Yeah.
I only asked because, like I said, I see some, you have a list of problems you deal with. And I do know that most people, when they don't, I guess because of shame and guilt, when they don't deal with one problem, that's when the other ones show up, because they don't realize the one problem you're ignoring is what's causing all your other problems. And they'll deal with the other 14.
That's right.
Never the one. Realizing it's the one you should deal with, and the 14 kind of just disappear all on its own.
Yeah.
So you did mention, well, we did both mention that you do have a book out for those. And I would say, even if you do have that $9.99 a month, you read the book first, because I would say this can't be forced. A person has to know they're ready to do it. And it sounds all nice. And then when they get into it, they realize they have to deal with that one thing that they still don't want to. So I would definitely say get the book and read it, because hopefully that'll help the reader realize, if I really want to do better, I'm going to have to face my fears or face whatever is causing me to say I don't need to deal with ABC.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Casey.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, and we have something right now that when people buy the book, either the soft cover, which I held up a minute ago, or the Kindle version, and you send us a receipt that you purchased the book, we automatically put you in the Helping Americans Heal online program for free. So you don't have to pay $9.98 a week. You can get it free. All you have to do is buy the book or the Kindle. Go to our website, talkdavid.com, at the Contact Us button, send us an email with a copy of your receipt, and we automatically add you into the program. And this is what's cool about the program, Casey, is that immediately you're going to get another one of my #1 best-selling books. So you buy Helping Americans Heal, you sign up, you automatically get positive thinking as part of the program. You'll get a sleep audio to help people sleep at night. You'll get a subscription free to a 12 months of a addiction recovery magazine. You'll get a meditation audio, and then ongoing, you'll be receiving every month a mastermind video where I answer questions from the audience on a video, and we send it out. We have over 5,000 people right now in the program. So every month, the people send in questions, Casey, I answer them on a video, and then we send them to everyone. So that even you might watch the 30-minute mastermind video where I answer 6 or 7 questions, and maybe 5 of them aren't relevant, but 1 is crucial for your growth. So we do that every month as well. So buy the book, get the program free. It's the best way to do it. What Casey said is true. Do the book first. Really get to see all of the valuable information and tools we offer in the book. And then when you're ready, send us the receipt and we put you in the program free.
All right, so just one more question for you, because I'm sure, you can't say anything because I know you're a counselor, so you can't discuss in specifics. I'm sure, though, you can admit that 9 out of 10 of your clients realize that the root of their problem was some type of childhood trauma or some type of something happened in the home that humans are just not supposed to experience. Please discuss the importance of making sure as a your first step to healing, even before you even start that brand new diet to lose weight, the first step really should be, did you take care of that stuff that you've been ignoring that happened in childhood?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people that were never emotionally supported as children. Mom and dad weren't emotionally available. Maybe they were addicted to something. Maybe they always had problems arguing or fighting. Maybe you grew up in a single family household and you didn't feel you got the love or support you needed. Or maybe you grew up really struggling with money and you've always struggled with money. From 0 to 18 is crucial. And you're right. I mean, my addiction started at 12, for God's sake, and we know the cause of it. I was a very angry child. I didn't know how to process my emotions, Casey. So it came out as anger and frustration. And then I found that drugs and alcohol could calm me. So it was a great choice at 12 because I had no other ideas of what to do. But it does start from 0 to 18. And, almost every client, Casey, it's so wise that what you just said, every client comes in and they think that their issue started 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but then when we take them back to childhood, they go, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this was the foundation or the origin of my addiction or my procrastination. As a matter of fact, I worked with a guy that was outrageously prejudiced. And he was 35 or 38, and he contacted me and he said, listen, I'm getting into all kinds of trouble. And I don't know where the hell this is coming from. I thought it was normal to be this prejudiced, but I'm getting pushback from society left and right. Friends are leaving me, girlfriends are leaving me, telling me that I'm too harsh and too hard. Well, I said, how long has this been going on for? And he said, a couple of years. Now, he was around 35. When we dug deeper, his grandfather, who raised him, was outrageously prejudiced. So when we got to who raised you, who's your male role model as a child, and what were they like? Who's your female role model as a child? Casey, it was right there. It was right there. The origin of his dysfunction was in his childhood being raised by an incredibly prejudiced man. It took 12 months. And this guy is so loving and so embracing of all races, all faiths, all everything. You would not recognize him if you heard our first conversation and then you saw him today. You would not have a clue it would be the same guy. So that's an example of how crucial it is to work with professionals, because otherwise you can shoot yourself in the foot. You can stumble around this life forever with challenges that we can help you remove.
I think it's funny that you mentioned that. I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Christmas Story.
Which is that the one with the kid with the gun?
Yes.
Yes.
So almost everyone's seen it, and they laugh at the scene where, during the movie, of course, it was, I think at the time it was filmed, cursing, because it was a rated G movie. There was no cursing. There was implication though that the father was a cursor. And the mother knew it because she heard, her husband cursing. And so by the time you get to the movie where the little boy accidentally says a curse word, both the mom and dad want to know, how did you learn to do this? And I think it's how we still don't get it, that's how you, that's how children become children, because parents really don't acknowledge because they're so used to doing it. They don't realize now that you have children, you got to really start paying attention to what you're doing, because at some point, whoever you're raising will become just like you. And I know there's, I forget which one it is. There's an insurance company commercial where they say you may be turning into your parents. And again, I don't think people recognize that still to this day, that even when the Bible says raise up a child and when they should go, whatever you did around them. And I don't think that people realize raising up a child means whatever you do, not what you say.
Right.
It's whatever you do, even when you think they're not watching. And that's the key, is even when you don't think they're watching and they're not listening.
Yeah.
That's the thing they're going to do when they leave. And I think it's very important that we, not just as, parents, even we as who are out, don't have children, we start recognizing, what am I doing? And did I get it from my parents without not recognizing it? So I'm glad you mentioned that he recognized that that's why he was prejudiced, and he just grew like nothing, even though I'm sure he knew being prejudiced was wrong. because of how he was living that way, he didn't realize he shouldn't pick it up.
How wrong?
Right.
Absolutely, Casey. Right. He had no idea. And he heard it every day. Right. So from 0 to 18, every day in his house, his grandfather is using swear words about other people and all that and putting them down constantly. So, I mean, if you hear that in your house, and he respected his grandfather was a big, strong, tough man. Right. So, you know, he just thought it was natural. And something else I want to say, you know, if we can find, and we can every time, Casey, when we find the origin of our challenges, then the solution becomes much more logical for the brain. When we don't look back to where did I pick this trait up? When did I start doing this? When did I start this? When did I start that? The brain has a really hard time logically moving forward. But when we can logically look at the origin, oh yeah, I started drinking at 12 because I was such an angry child. Now, logically, I can go, okay, now what was I angry about? What could I have done differently? You know, and we can start to logically work through our challenges. So it's crucial that you work with a professional, in my opinion, just so that you can get back to the basics and say, okay, here's the habit. I'm not happy with it. Here's how it started. Oh yeah. Okay. Now here's the action steps to change it. And that's kind of the direction that we move in therapy to help people achieve things that they could never do on their own. And by the way, I couldn't heal myself on my own from all the stuff that I have struggled with or was challenged by in life. I've always reached out to professionals, Casey, and I really think it's a step to do. Don't procrastinate. If you know you have an issue, don't procrastinate. Jump on it now.
Thank you. So anything you want to leave the listener with? Any encouragement or
words? Casey, absolutely. We have one life, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. You know, I'm talking about the physical world. Now, you might believe in reincarnation coming back. I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm just talking about today. This is it, you know? And I wrote an article, and the title of the article was, if you were to die tomorrow, and then it was ... And then when they open the article, it says, would you be fully fulfilled? And if you can answer yes, you are active in life. You are maximizing your potential. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. If you say, well, no, I want to do this and this and this, then get going. If you say, I want to write a book, start writing. You say you want to lose 100 pounds, do it now. This is your life. This is your chance. Pandemic, no more freaking excuses. Come on, jump on board. This is your one life. Look at it that way. Don't let the pandemic stop you from doing the things you want to do. Now, of course, there are certain things you can't do. I'm not talking about that, but there's nothing stopping you from losing weight, getting in the greatest shape of your life, learning how to save money, taking a course in Spanish or something. Come on, live. We can still live during the pandemic, but it's up to you and it's up to me. No one can do it for us. Let's do it together.
That is all the time we have for you today on Healthy and Wealthy Conversations. I want to thank our guest, David Essel, and for you, the audience, for stopping on by and watching. Thank you. Have a great day.